Hi guys, welcome to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad you decided to join me today. We are in the cottage garden. Today is a Sunday fun day. We're going to be getting some plants in the ground. I have some plants my mom and I picked up on our nursery garden travels that are desperate to get into the ground. I meant to do this a couple weeks ago but ran out of time. There's just never enough time in the garden when those real things like jobs interfere with what you really want to do. But I'm here now, I'm getting it done, and I thought I would bring you guys along as well because we'll be adding some bright pops of late summer color to a couple different beds. They're mostly going to be in the back of the house, so let's go look at where they all are, gather up supplies, and get started. Okay, we are down by the plants we're going to get in the ground, and they are mostly phlox today. This is kind of our plant holding area. We do have a peony that's going to go in a new bed that we haven't been working on yet. Some hellebores we're going to plant later, as well as some lilacs. But we have two different kinds of phlox that we're going to plant. A echinacea, and this is looking a little sad because it fell over and didn't get water for a little bit, so I'm going to cut it back, make it look good. But it is a Monarch's Velvet. Looks really pretty when it's not kind of dead. So I'm gonna go and get these loaded, and then we're gonna drive around the yard until I find the right spot for these. I have a couple places in mind. I am in the Miss Kim lilac tree bed, and I think we're gonna plant some of the stuff in here. I'm trying to think through colors because we've got some lucifer tongue in here, which I tied up in a video recently so it wouldn't flop so much, and it is so tropical but also fire engine red. Like, I think it's just so pretty. It took to being tied up fairly well. We have a lot of ornamental onions in here. We've got some dahlias down below. Let's see, I think we have a space that I could stick something here. And then I also have some opportunities over there that I think I'm going to take. This red is the tricky thing because I don't think I want some of the other reds we have in this area here. I'm going to put the taller phlox and maybe the double scoop pink echinacea just a little further away. I placed some down here and I like that, but I actually think I'd like them better over here. So I'm going to move those, but this guy, which is a little bloomed out, is going to go over there where we have a dearth of color in this period. God, you're going to see a cleanup video where we have to weed this once again. But I'm thinking this might be pretty. This is a little quick fire, and they generally get 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. So this might be a little close. That's probably going to fill this space pretty well. We have some iris right here, which obviously are spring blooming. So the other thing I could do is pop it in front of the iris. Would that be weird? Actually, this might not be a bad spot for it. Let me see if I can create a little ledge just for it to balance for a little while. So that actually is probably going to be pretty a nice pink pop. There's some purple echinacea up there. There'll be some pink over here soon. Yeah, I like that. I wanted to move these bad boys. I like that better. I guess I could do 2 pockets of it. Would 2 pockets be weird? Because these are going to get 3-ish feet tall. The crocosmia is probably about 4.5 feet tall. But most of the blooms are going to be this way. I think that is a good spot for it. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to pop this one here, and I'm going to say I'm going to try and get a third that we could even pop like down here. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3. That'd be pretty. And then we'll get something nice and low growing in front of the crocosmia. Okay, and it's like a very purpley. This is, if I didn't say it, an ultraviolet luminary phlox from Proven Winter. So it's actually faded a little bit. You can see how intense it is. It's like a purpley magenta. I think it'd be pretty here. And they're blooming a little early because they're in cans. Yes, I like this. We needed something over here. I need to get something tall. Maybe a couple of stilbies. I guess I'm gonna have to go shopping. I think an astilbe over there, a very tall one, would be good. Is the moral of the story. Now the other thing I wanted to put in this bed is this cinquefoil, which gets quite tall. I think like 18 to 24, but it can handle part shade. So we're gonna pop it right there. I think that's gonna be very pretty. I hope it kind of seeds itself around. I don't know anything about this plant. I've never grown them. It got a little dry if I didn't mention that. But there's some good base growth, so I'm gonna clean it up. So this gonna look good. 4 out of the 6 plants I wanted to get done, but I now have placement for. Let me get those quickly in the ground, and then we'll go plant the other ones. As you might have guessed, I changed tactics a little bit. I've spent some time in this bed before doing some cleaning and didn't quite get it done. And I started to plant stuff and realized planting them was going to make the weeding and mulching harder. So I decided to do what I need to do while I was in this bed. So this project took a lot longer, and it's not super hot temperature wise, but when you're in the sun and there's no breeze, I had to take a couple breaks. But I wanted to show you what went where and give you some details on the plants themselves. So the first thing I planted, and it's kind of hard to imagine, I'm going to pop a picture on the screen of what this is, but this is a Monarch's Velvet Cinquefoil in the Potentilla family, which I thought was so interesting. It's got really interesting leaves and got beautiful red flowers. It's zone 5 through 9 and will do part shade to full sun. This might be pushing it a tiny bit, but I thought we'd try it here and move it if we had to. But it will get 1 to 3 inches tall and wide. So, you're gonna have to excuse the dented fence. I think it'll fill that spot nicely if it likes it, and it should get some decent sun. I just don't know if it's gonna get a full 4 hours. The other thing that I'll show you from behind before I hop down there is that is one of the phlox that we planted that I'm really excited about. I think I may have mentioned while I was trying to figure out where these were going that I wish I had 3 of these. And I am going to be looking for a third one just to round this out because I didn't want to stick them all in a row. I wanted to kind of pop them as a bright burst of cool purpley pink color in this bed, which I think is going to be really welcome. And you can see them right next to the lucifer's tongue. We have 1, 2, and I think the third one would either go there-ish or I'd more likely bop it down here as kind of a draw your eye down into this bed, because this bed right now is pretty open. We have some dahlias in here. We've got a couple small things. Our rhubarb is giant, but this is something that I've got some plans that I'm hoping I can get to next year, and it's going to change a little bit in time. But these 2 phlox that we added will fit in nicely with what my plans are, and these are Proven Winners Luminary Series Ultraviolet. They're going to get 32 to 36 inches tall, 28 to 32 wide, and they are zones 3 through 8. And I actually like the white, if you can see up there, a nice layering. That is also the Luminary series. I don't remember what it's called. It's like bright white, bright something, luminescence maybe. But I think it's pretty that you can see all these at once because it's a little bit of a lull. We have some coneflowers that in a week or 2 are going to be doing well. And I think that's going to be a welcome add to this area. Speaking of coneflowers, right now it's a little sad, but this is what it'll look like when it's in its full glory. It'll get 24 to 26 inches tall and about 16 to 22 wide. It's hardy in zones 4A through 9B, and I thought it'd be nice because we have the regular purple coneflower echinacea there. We have some reddish ones on that side, and so a nice pink here. I actually wanted it to be over and down a little bit, and there's a rack here. So I moved it up. It might be a tiny bit close to this oat grass, but I'm hoping in time it'll stool out and fill in the area as it's able around the rock. And then in addition to that, I weeded for the 3rd time and mulched this whole area. It's not exactly done. I don't have much gas left in my tank, and I had one last thing I wanted to get planted, so I prioritized that. And I'm hopeful my dad might finish this, or he's doing a lot of painting right now because they're finishing their basement, and he's got an entire floor to paint in the next week. So more likely in a future video, I'll finish it. We'll see. The last thing we got planted is up in the bed with all of our beautiful hibiscus and Miss Kim lilacs. They don't look super great because they've just bloomed out, but we have 1, 2, 3 dwarf phlox called Bambini Cherry Crush, and look at that color. They have some nice buds on them, so I think there'll be a second flush coming soon. And they did have powdery mildew, so I went ahead and treated them. Phlox can be prone to powdery mildew. I think that this year is a bad year in our area for powdery mildew, and these were in a spot that I am shocked more things didn't get powdery mildew. So I treated them. I probably should have waited till they were out of the sun, but this is the time I have, so it's the time we're going to do. And I think that in a couple weeks, they're going to be flushing back beautifully. Now, these are dwarf, as I said. So they will get 10 to 12 tall and 10 to 12 wide. They're hardy in zones 4 through 8. And what I thought was most interesting, these can do part sun to sun. So I think this is definitely a part sun space. And we needed something bright here at this time of year. This is a coneflower we moved. It's a little orangey. We've got some red ones over here. So this is what we see from the deck, and I thought it would be a really pretty pop. So there you have it, 6 more plants added to the cottage garden, all of which I think will add a nice pop of color in this mid to late summer season, which our yard needs a little bit of, because there's always a lull towards the end of July before some of the August blooms kick in. And I think most of the things we planted should be blooming naturally. Because they're in cans, they bloomed a little early. I think next year they'll be blooming about this time. So hopefully they will provide a bright spot in these beds, which is surrounded by a lot of greenery. Either way, even if they're a little bit earlier, a little bit later, I think they're going to be beautiful in the spot they're in. That is it for this video. We are going to be headed back to the home garden quite soon for a couple more projects. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't done so already, subscribe so you don't miss a moment of either the cottage garden's journey or the home garden's journey. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.